turning up. There you are.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Do you want us on there?
Welcome, Jan. I can see you.
Thanks, Miles. All right. Oh dear.
Hello, Robert. Edward.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody. If you can, as you're joining us, tap your screen and mute yourself. You just tap the microphone and you get a red line that goes through it. Afternoon, Janet. I can see you as well now.
Right.
Very good. All succeeded. That's wonderful.
Really cute to get on.
I think there's still a few people still with their microphones not muted. If you can find it, that will be wonderful.
It's the mute.
You'll find you get a red line through the microphone and then you're perfect. I can tell now it's much better. Fantastic. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to another sunny Wednesday, which is great. A Fred Olsen presentation that's dead exciting, because we always get excited when we have the launch of our escorted groups, and particularly when we've got some new ones for 2022. So Kerry has lots and lots to talk to us about on lots and lots of different itineraries. Hopefully you will find them exciting and want to book. I've no doubt you will, especially when you get the Mars Morgan Travel Escort, and a lot of you I know are very familiar with the Jones and the Ninas and the Margarets and the Simons that have taken you very much over the last few years. So I will pass across to Kerry, who will give you the lowdown on what we've got for 2022, which is dead exciting. So Kerry, over to you.
Great, thank you so much, Miles. Well, a very good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Some of you may have been on the calls with us over the last couple of weeks. Some of it may be a bit familiar, some of the details I'm going to give you today, but obviously we are launching the new groups for 2022, which is very exciting. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. Okay. And hopefully you can all see that now.
It's getting there, Kerry. It says it's going to get there in a minute.
Is it working?
Not quite.
Oh, is it not?
It's working very hard. The thing's going round and round, so I'm sure it'll be there in a minute.
I can see at my end. Just give me a nod when it's there.
At my end, it's still going round.
Can anyone else see it?
If anybody can see it, if they can tap their screen and unmute themselves and say they can see it. For me, it's just going, Kerry Fred Olsen has started screen sharing and going round at the moment.
Same here. Same here.
All right, thank you. Maybe
Okay.
stop it and try again, Kerry.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. One sec. How about now?
Ah, perfect. There you go.
Great.
Straight in.
Okey-doke. So, some of the highlights I'm going to cover off today. I'm just going to give you a bit of an update on the fleet. Obviously, some of you may certainly be very aware that we've got 2 new ships, Boletta and Borealis, and we do have groups going on them in 2022. So I'll give you a bit of an update on the ships and where we are with them. And of course, a sneak peek, getting them ready so you can see some images of what the ships will look like, and even some men hard at work laying carpets and so forth. Reasons to cruise with us. Then we'll come on to look at the Mars Morgan escorted groups. We'll look at our enjoyment promise, the all-inclusive drinks packages, the future cruise vouchers, plain sailing guarantee, and then if anybody does have any questions, feel free to make a note of them and we will have time at the end for questions. So first of all, let's introduce our new family members to you. So first of all, we have 2 new ships that we purchased at the end of last summer. So they've been named Boletta and Borealis. So Boletta and Borealis are slightly larger ships than what we had previously, but they're not massive ships. They're very much still Fred Olsen ships. Boletta carries 690 cabins with 1,338 passengers on board. So not too dissimilar to the size of Balmoral if you have cruised with us in the past. The great advantage of the new ships, yes, they're small, but also they're a lot faster. So for example, the speed that she can cruise through the ocean is between 24 and 25 knots. So that means you can get to places a lot quicker than you would have done on our previous vessels. So lots of exciting things. Valletta's going to be mainly cruising out of Dover, but also Southampton, particularly for 2022. And Borealis, our other new ship, is generally going to be sailing out of Liverpool, and we will obviously be having escorted groups of coach transportation up to Liverpool for you as well. So facilities on board, very similar if you are a past Fred Olsen passenger. They are going to be very similar to our previous vessels. So we've got obviously more restaurants on board, bars, lounges, show lounges, swimming pools, jacuzzis, the usual things that you would find on a Fred Olsen ship. And of course, our very happy, smiling crew members that we know that you all love and love to come back and visit and see them time and time again. So they will be joining the rest of our fleet. So we have 4 ships within the fleet. So Balmoral remains, obviously. She carries 1,325 guests. So with the new ships, passenger capacity is roughly the same, but the new ships are slightly larger. So that just means that they are a lot more spacious on board. The maximum speed of Balmoral is 16 knots. So you can see the difference with the new ships, 24, 25 knots versus 16 knots. Now, Balmoral's predominantly going to be sailing in and out of Newcastle, but we do have some groups available on the Newcastle departures as well. And then moving on to the baby of the fleet, which is now the Braemar. She carries just over 900 passengers. She's the smallest ship within the fleet, but that is a great advantage because she can still get to places the big ships simply cannot get to. So rest assured that our new vessels are still Fred Olsen ships. They're not giant ocean liners. They can still get to places that even other cruise lines aren't able to visit. So it's smaller on board our ships. So the new ladies are certainly getting their Fred Olsen spruce. So we've been upgrading the ships and making sure that they're going to be perfect for when you're coming on board, whether it's later this year or when you set sail later on in 2022 or even 2023 with us. So the new ships are currently up in Babcock, up in a military dock up in Rosyth in Scotland. We've just recently had the go-ahead only last week from the UK government that we will be sailing this summer. So we're now just in the process of flying all our crew back to join these vessels up in Scotland, ready for sailing this summer. So it's all very exciting and everything is go for this summer. So lots to be excited about. So the 2 new ships will obviously add a number of new features and facilities to our fleet. So like I mentioned previously, there is certainly a lot more space per guest throughout the ships. We have an all-weather swimming pool and retractable roof. So guests can simply sit by the pool or go for a swim, whatever the weather, and we can simply pull that roof across should we need to do so. Lots of original artwork, premium decor around the ships, but of course we are certainly putting our Fred Olsen stamp on it too. More restaurants, bars and lounges, as well as dedicated meeting spaces for any groups that we're having on board. So for example, if you all wanted to dine together in a selected restaurant, there is certainly areas on board the ship for you to do so. We have a demonstration theatre. This is quite new to Fred Olsen and we're very excited about this, where we can showcase food and drink from various destinations that we will be visiting around the world. And of course, we have more suites with balconies on board the new ships. We have 2-tiered main restaurants, giving us the opportunity to offer you both a fixed and flexible dining option. So the first sitting and second sitting dinner will remain, but we will also be able to offer you the flexible dining option as well. We have a classic 2-tiered theatre on both the new ships and a much larger spa area, so you can enjoy various new treatments throughout the spas on board. So I just wanted to share some of our mood boards just to give you an idea exactly what we've been doing to the ships whilst they've been up in Scotland for the last few months. So like I said, Fred Olsen Jr. is very much involved in every single aspect of the business, designing the carpets, making sure that the furniture's in the right places, to the menus, the plates, and of course making sure that the itineraries and the brochures are ready for you and for welcoming our guests on board. So some mood boards just to give you an idea of the colour schemes that we're going with. So you may have seen some cabins looking like this previously on Balmoral and Braemar. So you've got the carpets, the blue colours, so it's all very new and very nice and modern. We are a 5th generation family run business. Our heritage and our experience sets us apart. And perhaps that's one of the reasons we have more returning guests than any other cruise line. So our repeat passengers on average is about 70%. So that's a huge number of our guests that do decide to come back and cruise with Olsen time and time again. So that means that we're obviously doing something right for our guests to want to come back and join us time and time again. So over the last few years, we've won the Cruise Critic Award, which is an award for our best itineraries. So we've won that every year since 2015. And it's interesting to see some of the awards that we won in 2020 when we weren't actually sailing that particular year. And these awards were mainly for our customer service and the way that we dealt with refunds and transfers and cancellations of our cruises that didn't unfortunately happen in 2020. So let's move on to look at the journey planning and what actually goes into making an itinerary. So we don't do the standard bus routes. What we like to do is make sure that we have a wide variety of itineraries available for all our guests coming on board. So what are you, our guests, looking for when you're choosing a particular cruise? Some of you want pure relaxation, some a journey, some a bit of a culture and exploration. Some of you want a mixture of all three of those. And we make sure that when we are planning our itinerary, we have a combination of those, as well as a mixture of port days versus sea days. So everything we do is tailored to you, our guests, from the planning of the suites, the upgrading of the cabins, the menus, the food, the spa treatments on board, the itineraries, of course, and indeed the brochure. Everything in mind is tailored to our guests, and we do an extensive amount of market research to make sure that we get things exactly right for you. So first of all, every cruise that we operate, we obviously ask our guest feedback, and that's taken into consideration when we start planning our next cruises. So we start to plan our cruises 2 to 4 years in advance. And obviously, guest feedback is very important. If there's particular ports of call that we're missing that we should add into the itinerary programme, if there's ports of call that we should be spending more time or indeed less time at, we take all this into consideration when planning, which makes us an award-winning cruise line for our itineraries. It's not only the onboard experience and the destinations we visit, of course, it's the onshore experiences as well. So that includes all the tour programmes that we are able to offer with your cruise. Calendar and seasonal events. So it's making sure that our ships are in the right place at the right time of year so that you, our guests, are going to get the most out of your cruise, whether that's events such as the Monaco Grand Prix or natural phenomena such as the Northern Lights. And of course, we plan our itineraries to make sure that the benefits of being on a smaller ship are fantastic. So like I said, you can go to destinations the big ships simply cannot get to. And when planning the itineraries, we also look at what other cruise lines are doing and try to avoid destinations and ports of call where the big ships are going to be also. So let's move on and have a look at the itineraries that we will be offering for Miles Morgan and the Escorted group. So we have the lovely Joan, Nina, Simon and Margaret as escorts for Miles Morgan. So that means that you can be picked up at selected Miles Morgan shops, taken to the ports of call, whether that's Dover, Southampton, Liverpool or indeed Newcastle. You'll then join your cruise ship. You'll have your escort on board with you. So if you do have any questions or concerns or anything like that, they are there for you to help. And then at the end of your cruise, you'll obviously be picked up and then taken back to your local Miles Morgan selected shop. So there's plenty of benefits to join a escorted Miles Morgan group. So for 2022, the group departures we're going to run through now. They are in date order, so rather than destination. So I'm just going to run through them for 2022. So the first one will be setting off on the 24th of March. It's a 14-night cruise from Southampton, and Joan's going to be escorting this cruise. And it's going up to search for the Northern Lights up to the top of Norway, Arctic Norway, in just coming out of the end of winter time. But it's one of the best times to see the Northern Lights. And this particular itinerary has been planned so that you have overnight stays both in Alta and also Tromsø. So these are the best destinations to see the Northern Lights, which is why we do the overnight stays up here. There's plenty to keep you occupied on this particular voyage when you're going ashore. You can go and obviously see the Northern Lights. You may be lucky enough to see them from the ships, but we will also have shore excursions available for you to go out and chase the Northern Lights. You can go huskies sleigh riding, you can go reindeer sleigh riding. If you wish to do so, you can go and sleep overnight in the Ice Hotel up in Alta. You can go ski mobiling. There is so much for you to go and enjoy up in the Northern Lights. It really is a truly magnificent cruise. And the Northern Lights is just the icing on the cake for this particular itinerary. The next one is the French Riviera and the Monaco Grand Prix. So this particular itinerary has been planned exactly so that we will arrive in Villefranche and we will take you over to Monaco on race day for the Grand Prix. So it's an amazing itinerary. If you've not yet done this one, I do certainly recommend adding it to your bucket list. It's setting off on the 22nd of May 2022 and your escort on this one will be Margaret. Discovering the Balkans is one of a relatively new itinerary for us. It's certainly going to be doing a lot of maiden ports of call on this particular itinerary, and especially some ports of call that other big ships can't get to. So that gives us kind of a unique ports of call on this particular itinerary. So it's going to be fantastic. It's going on the 14th of June for 18 nights, and Simon's going to be the escort on this one. Now, it's an 18-night cruise on board Valletta, which means that we can get to these destinations a lot faster than our previous vessels. And you won't have more than 2 consecutive sea days in a row. So there's plenty of ports of call to visit on an 18-night cruise. There are a few sea days in there just to break it up a little bit and give you a little bit of rest time during all those ports of call. But it's a fantastic part of the world to see. And Kotor, particularly when you're cruising into the Bay of Kotor, it's almost like cruising in and around Norway with all the fjords. It is truly magnificent. Rugged and remote Spitsbergen. So this is an itinerary planned exactly so that when you leave on the 22nd of June 2022, you will be up in Arctic Norway and up to Spitsbergen, also for the land of the midnight sun. So it's setting sail from Newcastle, and Nina will be your escort. So there will be the coach transportation from your or selected Mars Morgan shops up to Newcastle for this particular voyage. And again, being on a smaller ship means that you can go in and out of little tiny fjords, such as the Troll Fjord. You'll then go up to Tromsø, Honningsvåg, and then further right up into Spitsbergen, which is pretty much as far north that we go with our vessels. When you're up in this particular area, so I think if you're going to visit northern Norway, certainly do it in the winter time, but also go back and do it in the summertime as well, because it's totally different. But make sure that you are visiting Spitsbergen. That's, if you're going all that way to the top of Norway, you may as well carry on going up to Spitsbergen. Very, very remote places, and some fantastic experiences you can go. Again, you can do the huskies, you can do the reindeers in the summertime as well as the wintertime. You just won't be on snow, you'll be on wheels instead, but it really is fantastic itinerary. Scenic summertime Norway. So if you've not been to Norway before, or maybe you have, but you've done northern Norway and southern Norway are really quite different. So if you're looking for the Norwegian fjords, like this image here, it's the southern fjords that you'll be looking for. This is a departure for 7 nights on the 2nd of July from Southampton. And interesting to see that you will be visiting Flom. Now, a lot of other cruise lines aren't able to visit Flom going forward due to environmental impacts. But again, being a Fred Olsen family-run Norwegian company, we are able to visit Flom, and we use special fuel on board our ships during our time in and around the Norwegian fjords. So that still allows us to visit some fantastic places. So you'll certainly want to be able to visit Flom and do the Flom Railway. And we've got some other smaller ports of call and smaller narrow fjords that we're able to visit. Again, the bigger ships aren't able to do so. Scenic Isles of Scotland. So it's not just about destinations visiting various places around the world. We do obviously do closer to home destinations. So this one is an 8-night cruise in July 2022 from Southampton as well. So you'll be going up to see the Scenic Isles of Scotland, Kirkwall, Lerwick, St Kilda. Of course, there'll be a lot of scenic cruising along the way. So you'll be able to see Fingal's Cave, Dutchman's Cap, and various remote islands before calling into Belfast before coming back to Southampton. Discovering the Amalfi Coast. So this is a cruise escorted by Margaret on the 17th of July 2022, 15 nights. So again, it's taking in places on the Amalfi coastline, which is truly magnificent. So there'll be an opportunity to visit places like Capri, Corsica, and of course Menorca as well. Natural wonders of Iceland. So with our escorted cruises, we really have a complete range of destinations on offer for you. So this one's leaving Southampton on the 1st of August, going up and around doing a circumnavigation clockwise direction of Iceland. And again, there are destinations that you'll be visiting on this one where smaller ships can visit, but bigger ships aren't able to do so. So there's lots of tours available on the Icelandic cruise. You can go and see the geysers, the waterfalls, and of course relax in the Blue Lagoon thermal baths if you wish to do so. We've got a UK Scenic Isles and Celtic Cities cruise as well. So this is a cruise going around the UK, taking in a lot of the islands around. So this one's going to be visiting St Mary, so the Isles of Scilly. Again, not all cruise ships, and very few in fact, visit the Isles of Scilly, but we will be doing it on this particular cruise. Kirkwall, Lerwick, Invergordon, Leith, of course, for an overnight stay. So that will give you the opportunity to go into Edinburgh. That one's going on the 11th of September next year for 12 nights. We also have this one, which is exploring the iconic sites of Croatia and Italy. So it's a 27-night cruise, so it is a lot longer. It's on the 23rd of October, so a nice time to get away just at the end of the summer. So you've still got some, hopefully some nice sunshine and nice weather to experience at the back end of October. Again, there are destinations along this particular voyage that bigger ships can't get to, and even Venice now, the smaller ships can still cruise into the heart of Venice, whereas bigger ships have recently been banned. But we've got Kotor, Dubrovnik, Split, and it's also a nice time of year. It's not going to be overcrowded as well. So if you go in the height of July and August, for example, going around the city of Dubrovnik, it might be quite busy, but going slightly later on means that it will be less busy, so you'll be able to experience it without the full crowds. And of course, a European Christmas market cruise. This one's leaving 2nd of December for 8 nights, and it's leaving from Portsmouth. And again, being the smaller ship Balmoral, you will be able to cruise through the Kiel Canal in the winter time, which is obviously a size restricted for some of the bigger ships. So there's lots of festivities going on board our ship. So there'll be lots of, the ships will certainly be decorated for you. There'll be Christmas dinners to have on board. But of course, when you're stepping ashore, you've got all those magical Christmas stalls and all the lights for you to experience as well. So they're the cruises for 2022. Now, of course, there is that opportunity if anybody wants to do more than one cruise. On board Boletta, you will be able to do back-to-back cruising. So out of those cruises that we've just mentioned, 5 of them are consecutive cruises. So if you wanted to do any of those as a back-to-back, for example, you could step aboard on the 14th of June. And if you really wanted to, you could stay on board all 5 of them and end up coming home at the middle of August. People do it. Some people prefer to do just 1 or 2 back-to-backs. But there is that opportunity if you wish to do so. So you could do the Balkans, followed by the Norwegian fjords, followed by the scenic Isles of Scotland, followed by the Amalfi Coast, and then the natural wonders of Iceland. So there is an opportunity if anybody wishes to do so, the back-to-back cruising. If you book early enough, we will also do our very best to make sure that we book you in the same cabin so that you don't need to worry about changing cabins when you are doing back-to-back cruising. And when you're in your port of call, so for example, all of these are Southampton departures, then you can do as you please during that day when it's changeover. If you want to stay on board, you're more than welcome to stay on board. You don't have to change your cabin. If you wish to go ashore in Southampton, not a problem. Just make sure that you're back on time for the next drill and ready to set sail for the next voyage. So 2023, we just have the one departure at the moment, which is the American Waterways of Canada in the fall. So Joan's going to be escorting this one on the 26th of September, 2023. Now, it probably sounds quite far away, but believe me, it's not that far away and people are already booking. We're seeing strong bookings for 2022 and 2023 already. I think lots of people are just booking all the holidays that they can get in. So this is a 34-night cruise heading out west across the Atlantic and going to numerous ports of call in both Canada and the US. Again, smaller ships means that we can cruise to destinations, we can go up and down some rivers, but the great advantage of this one is it's leaving on the 26th of September, so that means that you will be arriving in the fall time to see all the foliage changing colours, so all the bright oranges of the leaves. Of course, we will be sailing past the Statue of Liberty when we cruise right into the heart of New York, and there is an opportunity for an overnight stay. So if you want to go and see a show on Broadway, you just want to wander around and see all the lights at night time, you'll have plenty of opportunities. So again, we've timed the itinerary perfectly for the fall season and all the foliage, but also making sure that you have plenty of time to going ashore with overnight stays in St. John's, Halifax and New York. And this one's also visiting Bermuda on the way home and also the Azores before calling back into Southampton. Now I'm just going to briefly mention some of the 2021, so this year, group departures that we also have from selected Mars Morgan shops. So we have a handful of them. So I'll just quickly mention these as well, just in case you can't wait for 2022 or 2023, you want to get away sooner than that. So we have the escorted groups. We are doing one up to Norway from Liverpool with a call into Belfast as well. And again, destinations include Flom, Skolden and Olden. So this is on Borealis on the 6th of August later this year. So it is a destination that you will be able to get off the ship and go and experience these ports of call. Another one is the 29th of August, so over the bank holiday. This is going from Dover. So again, we will be offering transportation from the selected Mars Morgan shops round to Dover. So this one again is taking in the Isles, so the islands around the UK. So of course we've got St Mary's for the Isles of Scilly, Falmouth, going up to Kirkwall, Stornoway, and of course scenic cruising past Fingal's Cave, Dutchman's Cap, and an overnight stay in Belfast as well. We also have a Dover departure heading up to the Baltic. Now it's called the Uncrowded Baltic because of the time of year that you'll be visiting. So it'll be the 5th of October for 13 nights later this year. So obviously if you went in the height of the summer to the Baltic, particularly St. Petersburg, it can be very busy. So we've decided this itinerary is a little later. So that means that you'll be able to go around and enjoy the palaces and the churches and those sorts of things with less people. And again, an overnight stay in St. Petersburg allows you to go and explore the city by night, go and see the ballet, go and do the canal trips by night time, whatever you wish to do so. We've obviously got ports of call into Helsinki, Tallinn and Riga, which are just as magnificent as St. Petersburg, Copenhagen and also Oslo. So it's a real Baltic cruise. And we also have one heading down towards the Sunshine on the 7th of November. So it's a Mediterranean cruise with a Malta discovery. So it's an overnight stay in Malta And if you've not yet been, certainly the cruise in and out of the harbour is magnificent. So you'll have an overnight stay in Malta to experience everything that it has to offer, and also a trip over to Gozo as well. So a fantastic itinerary, 13 nights later this year with Nina. So they're the escorted groups with Mars Morgan. If you'd want to know more information, we do have the brochure available. If you want to call into the Mars Morgan shops, get one sent to you, just let us know and we can get one of those brochures delivered to you. That actually covers all the cruises for the remainder of this year, but predominantly 2022 and 2023. So if anybody is interested in booking a cruise, there are certain policies that we have in place. The first one is the Fred Olsen enjoyment policy and the promise. So that basically means if you book your cruise more than 12 weeks ahead, which is 5 nights or longer, and if for any reason you get on board and you decide it's not for you, then we will give you a full refund of your cruise and fly you home from the next available port of call. So that basically is saying that you will hopefully come on board our ships and enjoy it, but for any reason that you don't, let us know. Within 48 hours of being on board, we will give you a full refund and fly you home from the next available port of call. This is great for anybody that maybe that's never tried Fred Olsen and you may be a little bit hesitant, or maybe you've cruised with other cruise lines before. But like I said at the beginning, 70% of our passengers on board are repeat passengers. So that says that speaks volumes in itself. We also have the all-inclusive drinks package upgrade. So this is can be purchased extra with the Mars Morgan transportation groups if you wish. It's £19 per person per night. So you can simply step aboard and not worry about your bar bill when you're stepping off at the end of your voyage. So that's available for cruises of 5 nights or more at £19. But if you are doing a cruise of less than 5 nights, it's £35 per person per night. If anybody out there has any future cruise vouchers, maybe you were due to cruise with us last year or certainly up until this point, but unfortunately haven't been able to cruise yet, you may certainly have a voucher and you can simply use these on your next Fred Olsen cruise. So just go to your Mars Morgan travel agent and they will be able to use that voucher for you to transfer over to a new cruise. And that can of course be on any of the escorted groups with Mars Morgan. So just to make you aware, if you're choosing a cruise that is a lower value than your original cruise, your voucher will be 10% of the new cruise voucher, which is valid from 12 months from the time that the voucher was issued. If you're choosing a cruise that's more expensive, then your 10% voucher is based on your existing booking value. But just let us know. Obviously, you do have 24 months to choose a new cruise, but those 10% vouchers are only valid for 12 months. So if you were due to travel last year, for example, you might want to consider rebooking sooner rather than later so you don't miss out on your 10% vouchers. And of course, the updated plain sailing guarantee. So if anybody is thinking of booking your next cruise, particularly for 2021, 2022, or even 2023, our plain sailing guarantee means that if you do decide to book with us and you pay your deposit, if for any reason you can't travel during those dates, we can simply transfer that deposit over to another sailing with no penalties, as long as you let us know before the final balance is due, which is normally around 90 days before departure. If anybody is thinking of booking a 2021 cruise for later this year and you aren't able to go later down the line, again, just let us know and we will actually refund you that deposit up until 90 days before departure date, which is 3 months. So there are some fantastic reasons why you should and why now is a great time to book your next cruise, particularly because lots and lots of people are booking for 2021, 2022, and as far ahead as 2023 already. Some of our best-selling cruises are actually going in 2023, and they're booking up very, very quickly. So that leaves me just to come back to Miles, and thank you very much for your time and your attention. And if anybody does have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you.
Well, crumbs, you've covered a bit in that, Kerry. My God.
I tried.
So please do ask away in the chat, and I can ask any questions that you'd like me to put to Kerry. You can tap the screen, and then you'll find under the more button, you'll find the chat, and you can just type your question in there. It was comprehensive. There were loads and loads of cruises in there, many of which, quite honestly, I'd like to go on. If you could pick one that you would say to people, do you know what, I'd give that one a go, which one would you highlight? And more importantly, why would you highlight it?
All of them. Northern Light. I love the Northern Lights. I've done the Northern Lights maybe 10 times because I used to work on board. It is a fantastic itinerary. Even if you've been to Norway before, even if you've been to Arctic Norway in the summer, I think there's 4 opportunities to see Norway: north, south, summer, and winter. So I would recommend heading up to the Northern Lights. And also Spitsbergen as well. I just love Norway. It's a fantastic destination to visit. The other one I would probably say would be, it's a hard one, the Falkland States, because it's just yes, it's Mediterranean, but it's destinations that not everyone goes to, particularly the ports of call that we visit. Smaller ships can get into, so some really different destinations around the Mediterranean and the Falklands. So something different. Maybe you've not been to those destinations before. Nice summer sunshine as well. Yeah, that would be my contrast, the winter and the summer.
Let me have a look. Margaret's asking, what about tickets for the Monaco Grand Prix? Good question.
Yeah, so we always have tickets available. So once you've booked your cruise, obviously the tickets are not yet released at the moment, but we will have a supply of tickets, and you would just book them like you would your shore excursions, but they would probably be released a lot sooner than the shore excursions. So once they're available, we would write to everybody that's booked the cruise to advise you that you can now book your Monaco Grand Prix tickets. But if you're doing that cruise, you've definitely got to go to and experience the Grand Prix.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done the Grand Prix. I've done Monaco. It's one of those places, isn't it? It's hard to describe really, Monaco, because it's only relatively small, but it's just got that feeling about it, doesn't it, as a destination? Are you a fan or not? Because I think it is possibly a bit Marmite. Would you say?
Monaco or the Grand Prix or both?
Monaco. Monaco is a destination.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I really like Monaco.
I can see you in Monaco with a nice glass of fizz on outside one of those bars. I think the other thing is, you know, the around St. Petersburg. I mean, St. Petersburg, I think, is just the most amazing destination. That was never on my list of places to go ever. And having been with Fred Olsen, it was just sensational, absolutely sensational. Cannot talk highly enough about what a great destination it is. Superb. And to go there with Fred, even better, to be honest.
And with the overnight stays, because one day is not enough. So with the overnight stays, you definitely have 2 full days in the city. So if you want to go and see the churches, the palaces, there's so much opportunity to go out on tour. I mean, for example, in St. Petersburg, if you have the energy, you could actually do 3 tours in one day. You could do a morning tour, an afternoon tour, and then go out again in the evening for the ballet or the city by night. There really is an opportunity. So if maybe St. Petersburg is your only chance to go, your only opportunity, get out, see everything. So you could potentially do 5 individual tours during your 2 days in St. Petersburg.
And let's be honest, that all of them are proper tours you'd want to do. You're not making up the numbers with those tours either. There's so many different places to visit there, and just sensational. Yeah.
We actually find a lot of our passengers do the Baltic particularly twice, because they're a bit overwhelmed with St. Petersburg in the beginning, and then they think, oh, I want to go back, I want to see more of this, and spend perhaps a bit more time on one palace or one church rather than trying to squeeze everything in at once.
Yeah, that having done it, I can understand exactly what you're saying there. Before I went, I think, well, surely it's just a city's a city, but you're right. It's one of those, but it's spectacular. And the palaces, oh my crumbs, just sensational. Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, Kerry, no other questions. So you've done very, very well. I have to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
Please contact us if you're interested in any of those cruises. I know a lot of you probably watching this are well familiar with traveling with Joan, traveling with Margaret. Listening to Nina would probably be what I would say, because that's what a lot of us do when we're with Nina very often. Or obviously, Simon is such a great chap to look after you on a cruise. He's just a wonderful, wonderful host. So if you're interested in anyone, please get in touch with the shops. They will happily give you the details of prices, cabin availability, pickup points, anything that you might need. So, and equally any questions that you might have for Kerry that's not been covered today. So so thank you everybody for joining. Hope you found it informative. Hope one of them ticks your box for a cruise for 2022, or even that one that we're doing for 2023. But contact your shops and they can help you out. But in the meantime, have a great Wednesday evening. And Kerry, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, Miles. Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.